Good day, guys. Today I want to give you more details on the Kove 450 rally since I rode it now for 856. I already did 3 oil changes, I guess. So I did one at 50 kilometers, which resulted in many metal shavings coming out. I did one at 400-ish. And I did one at 750 or something. I just wanted to get them done early. The first one was because I didn't know how much oil was in there. The second was just to flush out any new stuff because I found many shavings at the first oil change. But the second one was much better, and the third one almost no shavings, just a little bit on the magnet. Today I want to go into detail on modding this bike because, as we all know, we riders looking for an adventure bike, we would love to have the perfect adventure bike for us just right off the shelf. But maybe, or what I kind of figured out, maybe the whole thing about it is to kind of modify it on your own to your personal likings. And this bike is also the same. As it came off the showroom floor, it didn't fit me perfectly. I did some minor changes already, and some changes I still need to do. First off, I removed the RimLock because that was placed in here, and that just created a huge unbalance in the tire. I tried to balance it out, but it was not really possible. I took it out because I don't need a RimLock in the front. I'm not riding with that low of a pressure and that hard that I would need that in the front. In the back, of course, I left it in, but there you don't feel it any way. So yeah, just left it in. So that's number one. Number two, maybe you already spotted it. I have the oil cover for the new Kove for the 2025 model, I guess, or 25. I guess it's 25. And with that sightglass now, you can actually check the oil level from outside, which for any other bike is normal, but for the Kove it is not. Then one other thing, fueling. As we know, we have 3 tanks on this bike. One is a 15-liter tank, 7.5 liters, 7.5 liter. And the way how it works is the fuel here is getting fed by a line to, I guess, this tank here. And then this tank here has a connector to the other side. With that being said, once you ride it, you see your fuel level lowering. And then you think you're out of fuel. But once you let the bike sit for a while, the fuel will actually drain through it, and the sensor lies in the tank on this side. So if you draw enough fuel or draw more fuel that can kind of flow back into the fuel tanks, then you'll end up with a faulty measurement, and that always happened to me. So once I had the bike saying it was completely empty, I had the warning message going on, and yeah, when I let the bike stay overnight, the tank was half full after that. So yeah, I only fueled it up once. That was with, I guess, 600 kilometers, and I put in 25 liters, so you could even go 700 kilometers with an average consumption of 4.3 liters per 100 kilometers. Then what else? Oh yeah, of course, the phone mount. It's a rally bike. We have this huge luxury of having a rally tower in front, but the only thing we have is this piece of speedometer thingy. So I just put a temporary phone mount here, but there's no way of attaching a phone in here. So maybe I'm gonna factor a clamp or something. I can put a phone mount on there. What else? Maybe before we ride, I'll show you. This is gonna be the main topic today. I already installed the Coober ECU, which should help the bike with that issue of not being able to ride it under 4,000 RPMs. Then what else do we have? Suspension, stiffness. I already took the rebound. It's on the other side here. That's the bolt. There's a screw right in here on the shock. I already loosened it out pretty much all the way, and for now that works for me pretty fine, because the bike kind of never came back up, and now it's a bit squishier and springier. And then just an add-on for everybody who's not that mechanically inclined. A big thing you can do to your suspension is actually lift off the front wheel off the ground, and then you're opening these bolts here, the one in the front here, this one and this one, open them up. You will hear some air evaporate, and then you'll screw them back in, and this will basically equalize the pressure after hard riding or also after altitude changes. This is quite handy. So without further ado, let's go for a ride on one of the more scenic mountain roads. As you might know it from the channel, I always try to spot out nice roads, and this is one I like really much. Probably the biggest upgrade I did now is I spent $200 on a new ECU, an engine control unit. That's for everybody who's not that familiar with it. That's basically the unit, the computer that regulates how much fuel gets injected, and with that you can also kind of modify how the power gets to the rear wheel, or how the engine gets powered, how much throttle you have to give until a certain amount of fuel gets inserted, and so on. I did that mainly because of the reason I could only run the bike on 4,000 RPMs and above. Like everything below 4,000 was just not feeling well. It was kind of, I don't know how you call that, but it was like doing that kind of thing. And now with that ECU, that changed a bit. Let's see if I can show that to you. Unfortunately, we're going downhill now, so it's not that easy. So we can go into 5th gear, and we can use the bike now from about 3,000 and above without any issues. So that's one change I noticed, and then the other change was that the bike doesn't pop as loud anymore, especially when shifting. The bike was sounding really nice before I changed the ECU. Unfortunately, that kind of went away with it. Sometimes there is some popping to it, but not that much anymore. That's probably due to the fact that it's running richer now, and before it was kind of lean. It still does it sometimes, as it did just right now before. Now, but it's not that loud anymore. But it's okay. I think it's kind of missing some top end power now, but I never really rode it that hard with the stock ECU, so I cannot tell that much. But I have a feeling that it's kind of lost a little bit of power. And to be honest, what do you expect? On their website they describe it as a ECU that will work for pretty much any variant of the Kove 450. So for the E5 model, which I have with the closed airbox and so on, and the exhaust with the catalytic converter in it, but it should also work with the rally model with the open exhaust and open airbox. And for my understanding, an ECU in this bike is just a pre-mapping saying that much fuel gets squirted in by this throttle position and RPM, kind of in that matrix. And for my understanding, an ECU in this bike is just a pre-mapping saying that much fuel gets squirted in by this throttle position and RPM, kind of in that matrix. And for my understanding, an ECU in this bike is just a pre-mapping saying that much fuel gets squirted in by this throttle position and RPM, kind of in that matrix. I don't know how it should know if it has the open air box or not. It's not a closed loop system that will focus on the exhaust gas, measure that and improve the cycle. It's kind of a pre-mapped one. So yeah, I guess it has some ups and downs to it. But it runs quite nicely. And there's also more mid-range to it. You don't have to pull the throttle that much to get more power out of it. And I guess that's what I am really liking about it. And then also rolling on the throttle is now much smoother. I didn't really feel that's been an issue before, but now I can feel it's much smoother than before, and I really like that.